Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to go over the ranking system of Rainbow Six Siege, how communication plays a big role in the game, the operators' roles, and a little bit about toxic players. Now, this is something that I don't normally do. Again, I've done a little bit more ranting and a little bit less of what I normally do, but this is something that has really bugged me since the game has come out. A lot of players still feel like they need to be ranked based off of their own playing ability and not as a team. Well, it really sucks because Rainbow Six Siege is not a solo op game. You're not playing just to better yourself. You're playing to better your team. It's a team-based game, and you need to work together to earn these wins. Even though you go 15-0 or 15-5 in a ranked match, and you still lose, you still lost. And maybe that's chalked up to somebody's not giving good enough callouts, or maybe you died early off in the game, and obviously the rest of your team are not, big time fraggers like you. But there's an issue with that, is that it doesn't help when you're solo queuing. And I know a lot of people solo queue because they can't find teammates or friends that like to play the game as well. Well, there's a lot of different ways to find teammates that you can find at your playing level, or that help you, and you guys complement each other as a team. You can use Discord, you can use Reddit, you can use the app GamerLink. All these different sources you can find teams that you can get people that play like you or play similar, or a way that you guys can form a nice team. And when I say a nice team, generally when you see that, it's 1 to 2, maybe 3 at most roamers, and two anchors staying near or inside of OBJ. And with this is that your roamers are out there stopping the attackers from rushing. Your roamers are there just in case the roamers aren't getting the kills. But anyways, that'll come in a little later when we talk about operator roles. You're probably going to hear me say this a lot during this video, but this is a team-based game. So what does that mean? Is that you have to work together. You have 5 players and 1 life going against another team of 5 players with 1 life. So you have to make that 1 life count. Whether or not you get a kill, it really doesn't matter. Getting a kill and staying at a 1 KD is probably the best thing you can do for your team. The unfortunate thing is the majority of players don't have a 1 KD. So what do you do about that if you're dead and you don't have that kill? So yeah, you may feel bad that now it's 4v5 and the other team has the advantage. Well, you know what? You still have cams. You still can spectate. You can still do many things to help your team. Callouts are one of the biggest thing. This is going into a little bit of the communication that works together with how the ranking works. So without communication, your teams won't win. If you die and you sit there silent on the mic, it's gonna hurt your team. Take a look at cams, especially if you have a Valkyrie and they play some good cams. Get on those cameras, start looking around, and see what you can see, and not just what you see, but also what you hear. All these cameras, the Valkyrie cameras, I know also allows audio, so it's great to have. I place a lot of my Valkyrie cameras in areas that you may not be able to see, but you can hear. So I can still give a call out if I'm dead, or if I'm looking at the mics, that there's an operator in this area of the map. If you're spectating a player because you don't have cams up, then listen. Maybe your headset's better than theirs. Maybe you can hear something that they can't hear. You can give them a call. Hey, there's an enemy to your left. Now they're looking to the left and they're ready for somebody popping up over this door or around this door or corner or whatever. The communication portion of this game really is what, in my opinion, made it put itself higher than Call of Duty or Battlefield. And again, this is my opinion. The communication in here is key. Without communication, losses will happen. And I've had this happen to me plenty of times, where I go on a losing streak with my team and we start getting dead silent. And it ended up hurting us more. This is something that I'm still working on myself, but you need to take these losses with a grain of salt. And maybe that's what separates, the higher ranked players from myself. And maybe it is for you too. You take a loss and you take it to heart, and it really sucks. It really sucks when you're continuously losing, even though you and your team are playing decent. But there's always better players. So you just got to keep working hard. You got to make sure that you talk, give out a call out. If you die on, say, the stairs somewhere in one of the objective or in one of the buildings, you call out the stairs, call out the direction that you were in if you remember, or maybe stairs second floor, so that your team knows a general area of where you got killed. And take a look at the kill cam, because maybe you weren't killed on the stairs directly. That's where you died, yeah, but where was the attacker or the defender? Where were they standing when they killed you? You want to make sure that you get as much information as possible. So jumping around a little bit more, going back into the rank portion, I want to read something from the Ubisoft support on how they say that their ranking system works. So they say the question was, what makes my rank change? What parameters are taken into account? And they said exactly two things: the relative skill level of the players' teams in the game, and whether or not your team won the game. It goes on to say the KDA does not matter. Score does not matter. Hashtag MLG 420 no-scope montage worthy plays do not matter. Rainbow Six is a team-based game, and as such, the only thing that accurately determines whether you're a good R6S player is your ability to make your team win games. So it obviously, it kind of sounds like that they're putting it onto one player, and that's not the thing. It goes into the callouts, the communication, being able to help your team, whether you're alive or dead, and helping them win. I've gotten plenty of kills because my top fragger was killed early on in the round, and he gave me callouts. He told me where an enemy was due to cameras or drones, or just hearing them before I heard them, because he has a better headset. And because of those callouts, I was able to get a kill that maybe won the game, or maybe even evened out the game. You know what I mean? Communication is the biggest thing. I've noticed in this game that there's three components with it. It's a shoot, move, and communicate. And you got to move, or you always got to shoot. If you're taking fire, you return fire. You're not gonna run away. If you run away, then now you're just letting that guy live. You could probably get that kill on them. You got to move from cover to cover. Don't stand open all the time. And this goes into effect of the spawn killings, quote unquote, that happen before you get to the building. Move from cover to cover. Don't stand and run like a chicken with your head cut off straight to the building. There's plenty of cover going to and from the building. Use it. And the communication, that is the biggest thing. You get a kill, hey, let them know. Hey, I got a kill. He was on 3rd floor peeking from a window. Hey, I got a kill. He was in the library, 2nd floor, in terms of being at Bartlett. Alright, I've hopped enough on to the communications part, and I hope you guys understand how important communication is. So, talking about the operator roles a little bit. So you have your entry fraggers and your anchors, roamers, etc. Support players as well. And, you normally see Ash as an entry fragger. She's fast, she's got decent, good weapons, really. And her gadget is great for entry. And also clearing the way of barbed wires or traps as well. So you normally see her from the top fragger, top killer, who is going to be the entry fragger to try to start off the round. Try to get off that first kill and get your team rolling with the advantage of 5v4. You have your support players, say like Twitch, your shield operators, Montagne and Blitz. For defense, you got Rook, Doc, Valkyrie, just to name a few. And these operators are there to help your team. Twitch, for instance, using her drone to take out bandits, Jaegers, entry denial devices from Kapkan, or just landing some extra shots on people, damaging them 10 plus per shock. So now it's easier to get that frag on them. It's easier to kill them. For Valkyrie, you're using your cameras. If you place them right, you're now giving extra cameras that your team can use. And if placed correctly and hidden, they won't get detected throughout the match. So now you have 3 set cameras and key points around the objective. That's going to help you and your team get these kills. So the support players or operators are big time players. Even though some of them may not have a high selection rate in Pro League or even in Ranked, but it's something that I would love to see is them getting used more. Now your typical roamer on defense is going to be Jaeger Bandit and Caveira. These 2-speed, 2-armor operators also can roam depending on the player using them. So you normally see Jaeger with his ACOG and his 416 Charlie rifle, and generally spawn peeking somewhere, trying to get these early kills because that's what a roamer does. As a roamer, you want to try and stop the attackers from getting into the building or getting close to the objective. And Jaeger is great for that with his speed and his loadout. Same thing with Bandit and his MP7. It's another great submachine gun and can cause a lot of damage, and you'll normally also see him spawn peeking somewhere if Jaeger isn't, or maybe even both of them at the same time. These different roles that the operator plays is what makes Rainbow Six Rainbow Six. And it's great because of how they move and they interact, and they can change the tide of the match so quickly every round. If a Jaeger stays alive for most of it, he may be able to get 2, maybe 3 kills. Same thing with Bandit if they're roaming correctly. And see, the problem at the end there is your anchors generally don't see too much action unless they are the last lives, and generally these anchors are the ones that are getting the most hate, really, because most of the time these anchors aren't necessarily the top fraggers or the best players. So they stay around the OBJ to familiarize maybe with the map, or just because they prefer playing a rook, doc, or a support anchor character. So now they're sitting there all alone, and it could be anywhere between a 1v4, a 1v3, a 1v2, or a 1v1. And a lot of times they don't really clutch it, and it's an issue. It sucks when you don't clutch a game. It's happened to me many of times where I can't clutch, and I get shit on for it. And I mean, it really does suck. You gotta roll it off your shoulder and do better the next match. But it's unnecessary to get the amount of crap that some of these anchors get. Which rolls on into my next subject of toxic players. Toxic players aren't necessarily the Ash and Jaeger mains. Yeah, I know we always laugh and joke about Ash and Jaeger mains being so toxic or so sweaty. But to be honest, toxic players are the players that always talk down to your teammates because they're not getting kills. These are generally, when you're solo queuing, going to be the top fragger on the team, and they're just going to talk crap to the rest of the team for they're not getting the same amount of kills, or not playing the same way that they do, not roaming everywhere. And the sad thing is that this player, even though he may be the top fragger on this team, he may not be giving those callouts. He may not be doing things in a way of a team. He's not working together with them. So yeah, he may be getting all the kills, but he's not helping his team. And that's where then he becomes the worst player. These are the players that I consider being extremely toxic. And it's not that they're just being an Ash and Jaeger main or so-and-so main or whatever. It's because that they are inciting problems within the team. And it's not just, maybe that they're team killing, which is another toxic player, but players that aren't helping your team in any way or even encouraging. I understand constructive criticism is something that can help a player get better, but it's not constructive criticism if you're calling somebody a shit player because they are not as good as you in kills, or they don't play the same way. They're not roaming with you getting 10 kills every round, or every match, sorry. These are the same players that are complaining that why they're not getting ranked up even if their team loses because they have 15 kills in that match. Well, again, problem with that is that this is a team-based game. Regardless of how well you do, the team is a team, and you have to help your team win. So if you were not helping your team win by giving them callouts, or even spectating them, giving them an extra set of ears and eyes on their screen, then you are not helping your team. As soon as you die and you just give up and you just sit there quietly waiting for your team to pull out a win, then you're in the wrong. And you are making your team worse. You look at these teams that go on to be plats and diamonds, there's communication. There's communication throughout their entire game. And they're quiet when they need to be quiet, and they give the callouts when callouts are needed. And these are the things that separate these higher ranked players from us or myself really, I wouldn't say us, but from the lower ranks, from the golds and below. And that's the thing. Solo queuing, it also helps with this toxicity. You have a lot of players that are coming from COD and Battlefield that come into this game playing this like COD and Battlefield. And you know what? That's great if they find the right team. Because these COD and Battlefield players make fantastic Ash and Jaeger mains, roamers, and entry fraggers. And they are the top fraggers. I have no issue with somebody out fragging me in a game or in a match. But what I have an issue with is that top fragger that's running around getting all these kills, and as soon as they die, they're not saying shit. And they just sit there quietly and pray to God that the rest of the team pulls their weight. And unfortunately, in this game, that doesn't necessarily happen. So to recap everything that we talked about, ranking system, it's decent for where it's at, and it makes this game how it is. It makes this game this game. Communication is always good. No communication equals bad. Your operator roles, everybody has their own specific role of where they should be playing based off of how they play and their skill level. Toxic players are a big no-go, and to be honest, if you want to continue playing this game as a toxic player, you better start learning how to play as a teammate. And if you don't, go back to Call of Duty, go back to Battlefield. So again, I would like to apologize for having this such a long rant, really, and also the rant in general. I don't really do these things, and I would also like to know your guys' opinion on these subjects, on ranking system, communication, the operator roles, and also toxic players. What do you guys think about them? And if you guys like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. You guys have a squirrely day and happy gaming, guys.